Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Saira Mujtaba and with me is Vaibhav Jyotsna Srivastava with the evening news. The headlines. Har Ghar Tiranga campaign kicks off across the nation with crores of countrymen hoisting the national flag at their homes and workplace to celebrate Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Prime Minister Narendra Modi expresses joy at amazing response to the Har Ghar Tiranga campaign. President Draupadi Murmu to address the nation tomorrow on the eve of the 76th Independence Day. Prime Minister felicitates Indian contingent for Commonwealth Games 2022, says it's our responsibility to create a sports ecosystem that is globally excellent, inclusive, diverse and dynamic. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh says in the last 4 years, India's arms import bill came down to 35% from the earlier 48 to 68%. Jammu and Kashmir administration sacks 4 of its employees, including son of Hizbul Mujahideen chief Syed Salahuddin and wife of terror funding accused Bitta Karate. India unveils its first saline water lantern using seawater to power specially designed LED lamps. And 11 more veterans of India added to the list of Ramsar sites, taking a total number of sites to 75 in the country. And now the news in detail. The Har Ghar Tiranga campaign kicked off today to motivate people to bring the Indian national flag home and hoist it to mark 75 years of India's independence. The campaign has been initiated as part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav to run till August the 15th. Last month, in his Mann Ki Baat program, Prime Minister Narendra Modi had appealed to the people to strengthen the Har Ghar Tiranga campaign by hoisting or displaying the national flag in their homes from the 13th to the 15th of August.
मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, आजादी के अमृत महोत्सव के तहत 13 से 15 अगस्त तक एक स्पेशल मूवमेंट हर घर तिरंगा का आयोजन किया जा रहा है। इस मूवमेंट का हिस्सा बनकर 13 से 15 अगस्त तक आप अपने घर पर तिरंगा जरूर फहराएं या उसे अपने घर पर लगाएं। तिरंगा हमें जोड़ता है, हमें देश के लिए कुछ करने के लिए प्रेरित करता है। साथियों, आजादी के अमृत महोत्सव में हो रहे इन सारे आयोजनों का सबसे बड़ा संदेश यही है कि हम सभी देशवासी अपने कर्तव्य का पूरी निष्ठा से पालन करें।
Home and Cooperation Minister Amit Shah hoisted the national flag in his residence in New Delhi this morning. He paid tributes to the heroes who sacrificed everything for the motherland. Mr. Shah appealed to all countrymen to hoist the Tiranga at their homes and said the Tiranga is the pride of every Indian as it unites and inspires everyone. Patriotic fervor gripped Telangana as various organizations held freedom rallies and other programs across the state flying the national flag high. People, especially youth and students, took part while holding the tricolour in various programs with a sense of pride. Lakhs of national flags have been flown high by people atop their houses, shops, offices and businesses and public places as part of the campaign. In Chandigarh, taking the campaign to the new level, over 7,500 participants made the Guinness World Record by creating the world's largest human image of a waving national flag. Punjab Governor and Administrator of UT Chandigarh, Banwari Lal Purohit, was present as a chief guest and Union Minister of State for External Affairs and Culture, Meenakshi Lekhi, as the guest of honour on this memorable occasion. The volunteers of NID Foundation of Union Territory, 5,885 students of Chandigarh University and other schools and colleges formed the human image. In Jammu and Kashmir, Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha started the campaign by distributing national flags among the Raj Bhavan staff in Srinagar today. He said the national flag has been the symbol of hopes and dreams of Indian citizens for the last 75 years and continues to guide and lead us to a glorious future. In Ladakh, the program was wholeheartedly celebrated in Kargil by all sections of the society. The Har Ghar Tiranga campaign kicked off in Uttarakhand with Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami hoisting the flag in Champawat. He also took part in Prabhat Pheri. Under the campaign, the tricolour is being hoisted in 20 lakh houses of the state. ITBP Jawans and pilgrims along with local people took out the tricolour yatra in Badrinath Dham. Maharashtra Chief Minister Eknath Shinde has said that the Har Ghar Tiranga campaign has brought a big wave of patriotism and love for the nation. Meanwhile, in order to make the Har Ghar Tiranga campaign a grand success, the Municipal Corporation of Greater Mumbai has distributed 41 lakh flags so far. The citizens are hoisting and displaying the tricolour prominently in their homes. According to an official press release, the corporation purchased 40 lakh flags, while 1 lakh flags were donated by the Tata Group. To celebrate 75 years of India's independence and to promote the feeling of brotherhood and harmony, the government has urged citizens to hoist the tricolour at their homes, offices and business establishments from the 13th to the 15th of August under the Har Ghar Tiranga campaign. The MCGM planned an all-out awareness campaign using banners, posters, hoardings on bus stands, jingles, short films and print advertisements over the past 15 days. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has expressed joy at the amazing response to the Har Ghar Tiranga movement. In a tweet, Mr. Modi said, record participation is being seen from people across different walks of life. He added, this is a great way to mark the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. The Prime Minister also asked everyone to share their photos with the Tiranga on harghartiranga.com.
मुट्ठी भर अंग्रेज और हमारे विशाल देश पर राज करने का स्वप्न देख रहे हैं, पर हम इनके स्वप्न को चकनाचूर कर देंगे।
निकल पड़े स्वाधीनता के पथभाले, स्वतंत्रता संग्राम की सुनी अनसुनी कहानियों के साथ स्वराज हर रविवार रात 9 बजे डीडी नेशनल पर।
President Draupadi Murmu will address the nation tomorrow on the eve of the 76th Independence Day. The address will be broadcast from 7 p.m. on the entire national network of All India Radio and telecast over all channels of Doordarshan in Hindi, followed by the English version. Broadcast of the address in Hindi and English on Doordarshan will be followed by broadcast in regional languages by regional channels of Doordarshan. AIR will broadcast regional language versions at 9:30 p.m. on its regional network. All India Radio is celebrating 75 years of freedom with a unique initiative titled Azad Bharat Ki Baat Akashvani Ke Saath. Starting from the 15th of this month, the 92nd series will be broadcast on 100.1 FM Gold channel, prime time news bulletins and across all of its platforms, including social media. It will showcase the journey of India since independence in various walks of life through storytelling of All India Radio, the voice of the nation. Here is more in this report.
Since its inception on the 8th of June 1936, All India Radio has been a witness to the history of the country, including the first Independence Day, way back in 1947, to the liberation of Bangladesh, to India making history at World Cup cricket. From this Independence Day, it will be looking back at the historic journey with snippets from its repertoire. Listeners will be able to hear the voices of legends like Mahatma Gandhi, Homi Jahangir Bhabha, Sir C.V. Raman, Dr. Kurian Varghese, Dr. M.S. Swaminathan, Pandit Bhim Singh Joshi, Melvin DeMello and Jasdev Singh, to name a few. Every day, one special story will be broadcast and uploaded on AIR social media handles on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook and YouTube. Listeners can relive the glorious moments that passed by and follow AIR on its social media handles. Reshma Tiwari, News Desk.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that India is not only performing remarkably well in sports that it has aced historically, but also witnessing stellar shows in arenas where the country was not known before. Addressing the Indian contingent which participated in the recently held Commonwealth Games 2022 at Birmingham at his official residence, Mr. Modi said, Indian citizens stayed awake all night supporting and praying for their victory. He said this increasing interest in sports can be credited to the stellar performances of the sportspersons. Mr. Modi said he always had complete faith in the Commonwealth contingent's ability, and today we are celebrating their success.
आज ये विजय के उत्सव का ही अवसर है। अभी जब आपसे मैं बात कर रहा था तो मैं वो आत्मविश्वास, वो हौसला देख रहा था, और वही आपकी पहचान है, वही आपकी पहचान से जुड़ चुका है। जिसने मेडल जीता वो भी, और जो आगे मेडल जीतने वाले हैं वे भी आज प्रशंसा के पात्र है।
The Prime Minister urged all athletes to meet the youth under Meet the Champions initiative of Khelo India to inspire and encourage them. He said we have to intensify our efforts to find new talent and take them to the podium. Mr. Modi said we have to create a sports ecosystem that is inclusive, diverse and dynamic. He said no athlete should be left behind.
नए टैलेंट की खोज और उनको पोडियम तक पहुंचाने के हमारे प्रयासों को हमें और तेज करना है। हमारे ऊपर एक ऐसे स्पोर्टिंग इकोसिस्टम के निर्माण की जिम्मेदारी है जो विश्व में श्रेष्ठ हो, इंक्लूसिव हो, डाइवर्स हो, डायनेमिक हो। कोई भी टैलेंट छूटना नहीं चाहिए क्योंकि वो देश की संपदा है, देश की अमानत है।
You're listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Har Ghar Tiranga campaign kicks off across the nation with crores of countrymen hoisting the national flag at their homes and workplace to celebrate the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Prime Minister Narendra Modi expresses joy at amazing response to the Har Ghar Tiranga campaign. President Draupadi Murmu to address the nation tomorrow on the eve of the 76th Independence Day. Prime Minister felicitates Indian contingent for Commonwealth Games 2022, says it's our responsibility to create a sports ecosystem that is globally excellent, inclusive, diverse and dynamic. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh says in the last 4 years, India's arms import bill came down to 35% from the earlier 48 to 68%. Jammu and Kashmir administration sacks its 4 employees, including son of Hizbul Mujahideen chief Sayyid Salahuddin and the wife of terror funding accused Bitta Karate. India unveils its first saline water lantern using seawater to power specially designed LED lamps, and 11 more wetlands of India added to the list of Ramsar sites, taking a total number of the sites to 75 in the country. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
अपने बिजनेस को बढ़ाने के लिए लीजिए आकाशवाणी का सहयोग और दीजिए उसे बुलंदियों के पंख।
आपका बिजनेस लोकल है या राष्ट्रीय, आकाशवाणी देती है उपभोक्ताओं तक पहुंचने का हर विकल्प।
और अब तो आप घर, दफ्तर या दुकान पर बैठे बैठे कर सकते हैं आकाशवाणी के किसी भी केंद्र के लिए विज्ञापनों की बुकिंग। आकाशवाणी के विभिन्न चैनलों पर विज्ञापन देना सुलभ और सस्ता। बुकिंग है तो संपर्क करें 8700014242 पर। 8700014242।
अगर आप स्टार्टअप करने की सोच रहे हैं तो देरी क्यों? हम लेकर आए हैं स्टार्टअप चैंपियंस का दूसरा संस्करण, जहां हर एपिसोड में आप सीखेंगे कुछ खास बिजनेस स्ट्रैटेजीज हमारे स्टार्टअप चैंपियन से। अब से हर शनिवार रात 9 बजे डीडी न्यूज, रात 10 बजे डीडी इंडिया और हर रविवार दोपहर 12 बजे डीडी नेशनल पर देखिए स्टार्टअप चैंपियंस का दूसरा संस्करण। स्टार्टअप करना है तो स्टार्टअप चैंपियन से सीखो।
Welcome back. You're listening to the evening news. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh today said the government has created a robust security apparatus to ensure that no one can cast an evil eye on the sovereignty, unity and integrity of India. He asserted that safety and security of the people is the top priority of the government and assured the nation that a befitting reply will be given to anyone who tries to disturb peace and harmony in the country. He stated that the armed forces are being equipped with the latest weapons and platforms, adding that they are ready to deal with all future threats and safeguard national interests. Defence Minister was addressing a gathering after unveiling the statue of Veer Durgadas Rathore at Salwa Kalan village in Jodhpur district today. He criticized the remarks of the opposition parties on the China border conflicts and said that there should not be politics on the issue of the country's honour and respect.
बहुत सारे लोग ये गलतफहमी पैदा करने की कोशिश करते हैं, कहते हैं कि चीन ने यह कर दिया, वह कर दिया। भारत के सीमाओं की रक्षा कैसे होती है शायद ये लोगों को अनुमान नहीं है। मैं ऐसी राजनीतिक पार्टी के नेताओं से कहना चाहता हूं, जहां देश के मान सम्मान स्वाभिमान का प्रश्न हो, वहां पर राजनीति नहीं की जानी चाहिए। कोई नेता जाकर सीमाओं पर वहां की सीमा की रक्षा नहीं करते। इन्हीं माताओं की कोख से पैदा हुए लाल सीमाओं पर जाकर सीमाओं की रक्षा करते हैं।
The Defence Minister underlined the importance of achieving self-reliance in defence production to build a strong military and said that the Ministry of Defence has undertaken a number of reforms to manufacture indigenous weapons and platforms for the armed forces under the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. Mr. Singh said that the country's import bill of arms has come down to 35% from 48 to 68% in the last 4 years.
भारत अब दुनिया के कमजोर देशों में गिना नहीं जाता है, भारत अब दुनिया के ताकतवर देशों में गिना जाता है। हमने कह दिया जो बेचना चाहते हैं अपना सामान दुनिया के दूसरे देशों के लोग वो भारत आए, भारत की धरती पर खड़े होकर यहीं पर अपना हथियार तैयार करें। ये हथियार भारतवासियों के हाथों से तैयार होना चाहिए। मेक इन इंडिया, मेक फॉर द वर्ल्ड। पहले आपको आश्चर्य होगा कि 2018-19 में 48 से लेकर 68% तक हम दुनिया के दूसरे देशों से आयात करते थे। यह सब सारे टैंक, हथियार, गोले, बारूद, अब उसको कम कर दिया हम लोगों ने। अब केवल 35% सामान हम दुनिया के बाहर से मंगवाते हैं।
Union Minister for Jal Shakti Gajendra Singh Shekhawat, State BJP President Satish Punia, MP of Pali PP Chaudhary and other public representatives and social workers were present in the function.
The Jammu and Kashmir administration today sacked its 4 employees for being a threat to the security of the state. The sacked employees include the son of Hizbul Mujahideen chief Sayyid Salahuddin and the wife of terror funding accused Farooq Ahmad Dar, alias Bitta Karate. As per the official order issued today, all 4 employees were dismissed under Article 311 of the Constitution, which enables the government to sack its employees without an inquiry. Bitta Karate's wife, Asaba-ul-Arjaman Khan, was a Jammu and Kashmir Administrative Services officer and was posted in the Directorate of Rural Development. Sayyid Salahuddin's son, Sayyid Abdul Mueed, was the Information and Technology Manager at J&K Entrepreneurship Development Institute. The others dismissed are Majid Hussain Qadiri, a senior assistant professor at Kashmir University, and Mohit Ahmad Bhatt, a senior scientist at the Kashmir University. 2 days after a boat capsized in the Yamuna River in Banda district of Uttar Pradesh, 8 more bodies surfaced today at different places in Fatehpur district. This has taken the death toll to 11 in the boat accident. However, 9 people are still missing. Bodies were found on the other side of the Yamuna River, which falls in the Fatehpur district. The boat carrying more than 30 people capsized on Thursday. Teams of NDRF, SDRF and flood platoon of PAC are carrying out search operations. Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has announced an ex gratia of 4 lakh rupees each for the next of kin of the deceased.
The national capital reported its 5th confirmed case of monkeypox. The new case was detected after an African woman with travel history to Nigeria tested positive for the virus. With this, the total number of cases has gone up to 10 across the country. The woman has been admitted to the Lok Naik Jayaprakash Narayan Hospital, LNJP, in New Delhi. Medical Director of LNJP, Dr. Suresh Kumar, said that her sample tested positive yesterday and she is currently under observation in the hospital. Union Minister of State for Science and Technology, Dr. Jitendra Singh, today unveiled India's first saline water lantern, which uses sea water to power the specially designed LED lamps. The minister visited the Sagar Anveshika, a coastal research vessel operated and used by the National Institute of Ocean Technology, Chennai, to review the progress of the implementation of the Deep Ocean Mission of India. The saline water lantern will bring ease of living to the fishing community living along the 7,500-kilometer-long coastal line of India. Dr. Jitendra Singh hoisted the tricolour on board the ship and extended the campaign of Har Ghar Tiranga to Har Jahaz Tiranga.
India has added 11 more wetlands to the list of Ramsar sites to make it a total of 75 Ramsar sites in the country in the 75th year of independence. The total area now covering 13,26,677 hectares. The Ministry of Environment, Forests and Climate Change said the 11 new sites include 4 in Tamil Nadu, 3 in Odisha, 2 in Jammu and Kashmir and 1 each in Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra. Designation of these sites would help in conservation and management of wetlands and wise use of their resources. During this year itself, a total of 28 sites have been declared as the Ramsar sites. Tamil Nadu has the maximum number, 14 Ramsar sites, followed by Uttar Pradesh with 10 Ramsar sites. And now, let's listen to our special program Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव। Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News, Birth of a Nation.
India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of the struggle every day.
In today's episode, we remember Manipuri freedom fighters Tikendrajit Singh and Thangal General, who were executed by hanging on the 13th of August 1891 by the British. Tikendrajit Singh and Thangal General were the great defenders of Manipur during the Anglo-Manipur War of 1891.
Tikendrajit was born in 1858 to Maharaja of Manipur, Chandrakirti, and Chengtham Chanu Kaujeshwari Devi. In the First Anglo-Burmese War in the 1820s, the British had helped the Manipur royal family to regain their kingdom from the Burmese. Subsequently, Manipur became a British protectorate, and from 1835, the British stationed a political agent in Manipur.
Tikendrajit did not like the interference of the British in the Manipur administration and was determined to expel the British from Manipur and bring back its independence. As Jubraj, the heir apparent under the rule of his brother Kulchandra Singh, Tikendrajit led Manipuris against the British. Thangal General ordered the execution of the English prisoners following the March 24 English aggression.
The rise of Tikendrajit in Manipur was considered a threat to British supremacy. Lord Lansdowne sent 3 columns of troops to Manipur from Kohima, Silchar and Tamung to save their motherland. The Manipuris fought very bravely under the direction of Tikendrajit, but it was not a match against the superior might and arms of the British. The British occupied Manipur on the 27th of April 1891. Tikendrajit and other leaders of Manipur went underground, but Tikendrajit was arrested on the 23rd of May 1891.
Tikendrajit and Thangal General were publicly hanged on 13th of August 1891 at Pedapung Polo Ground in Imphal. After independence, the ground was renamed as Bir Tikendrajit Park and a Shaheed Minar was erected in it. The northern part of Imphal market has been named Thangal Bazaar after the brave martyr Thangal General. AIR News salutes the brave sons of the soil.
We also remember martyr Dalel Singh, who died on the 13th of August 1924. Born in 1899 in district Hoshiarpur, Punjab, Dalel Singh took part in the Akali activities in the state. He joined the 7th Peaceful Sikh Jatha to Jaito Gurdwara Gangsar, Nabha in 1924 against the British order prohibiting all prayer assemblies there.
When the Jatha people reached Jaito, the police stopped them from entering into the Gurudwara and also carried out some arrests. Dalel Singh was put behind bars in Nabha jail and died during imprisonment due to torture on the 13th of August 1924. AIR News salutes the brave son of the soil.
We also remember independence activist Dwarka Das, who was martyred on the 13th of August 1942. Born in 1898 at Nagpur, Maharashtra, Dwarka Das joined a procession during the Quit India movement on the 13th of August 1942.
He was among the thousands who thronged the Nagpur streets and raised anti-colonial slogans. The British police force opened fire on the processionists at several places at Nagpur, injuring 50 protesters and killing 17 same day. Dwarka Das was among those killed in the firing. We salute the brave son of the soil.
We also remember martyr Lokhwant Singh, who took part in the First War of Independence in 1857.
Singh was captured in an encounter with the company troops and charged with desertion and mutiny against the British authorities.
He was sentenced to transportation for life with hard labor in irons and sent to the Andaman Islands in April 1858, where he died in detention on the 13th of August 1858. AIR News salutes the brave son of the soil.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
अब हर घर की छत पर शान से फहरेगा तिरंगा, गुनगुनाए जाएंगे नव विकास के गीत, आन बान शान का प्रतीक राष्ट्रध्वज तिरंगा। आइए आजादी के अमृत महोत्सव के पावन अवसर पर इस स्वाधीनता दिवस हर घर फहराते हैं तिरंगा और लेते हैं भव्य और सशक्त भारत के निर्माण का संकल्प।
आइए हर घर फहराएं तिरंगा।
As part of the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, All India Radio News brings to its listeners a special quiz on India's freedom movement and its glorious history. The next question of Amrit Mahotsav quiz will be shared with the listeners on Monday in the morning bulletin. Celebrate 75 years of India's independence by participating in the Amrit Mahotsav quiz with AIR News.
Remembering the fallen heroes of the Anglo-Manipuri Wars, the Patriots' Day was celebrated in Manipur and those areas outside the state where state natives reside. Manipur Governor La Ganeshan and Chief Minister N. Biren Singh attended the state-level celebration. They led the people in paying tributes to the heroes of Manipur who fought against the British rule during the Anglo-Manipuri War at the Bir Tikendrajit Park situated in Imphal. Akashvani's ITL fame news reader cum translator Saroj Narayansamy today breathed her last at her home in Mumbai. She was 87. Her voice was very popular in the Tamil world. She worked in the Tamil unit of All India Radio, New Delhi for more than 2 decades. Her unique voice earned her a place in radio news. She worked as an interpreter for Tamil jury both for Indian and international film festivals. She was conferred with the Kalaimamani Award by the Tamil Nadu government in 2013.
The Reserve Bank of India has asked financial institutions that their loan recovery agents should not intimidate or harass any person either physically or verbally for their debt collection efforts. The RBI has also advised that agents should not humiliate publicly or intrude upon the privacy of the debtors, family members, referees and friends. Salman Rushdie, the Indian-born British author whose writing led to death threats from Iran in the 1980s, has been stabbed as he was about to give a lecture in the southwestern New York state. Police confirmed Rushdie was stabbed in the neck and abdomen by an assailant. Police identified the assailant as 24-year-old Hadi Matar from New Jersey. After being airlifted to the hospital where he spent hours in surgery, Rushdie was on a ventilator. Andrew Willey, his book agent, wrote in an email that Salman is likely to lose one eye, adding that the nerves of his arm were severed and his liver was stabbed and damaged. New York State Police said officials do not have any indication of a motive, adding that they believe that Matar was acting alone.
Now let's take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. National capital Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata and Chennai are expected to have a generally cloudy sky with light to moderate rain and thunder showers. In the south, Hyderabad, Bengaluru and Thiruvananthapuram will have a generally cloudy sky with few spells of rain or thunder showers. And now before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Har Ghar Tiranga campaign kicks off across the nation with crores of countrymen hoisting the national flag at their homes and workplace to celebrate Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Prime Minister Modi expresses joy at amazing response to the Har Ghar Tiranga campaign. President Draupadi Murmu to address the nation tomorrow on the eve of the 76th Independence Day. Prime Minister felicitates Indian contingent for Commonwealth Games, says it's our responsibility to create a sports ecosystem that is globally excellent, inclusive, diverse and dynamic. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh says in the last 4 years, India's arms import bill came down to 35% from the earlier 48 to 68%. Jammu and Kashmir administration sacks 4 of its employees, including son of Hizbul Mujahideen chief Syed Salahuddin and wife of terror funding accused Bitta Karate. India unveils its first saline water lantern using sea water to power specially designed LED lamps. And 11 more veterans of India added to the list of Ramsar sites, taking the total number of sites to 75 in the country. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.